Good morning. Thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hachem with US Arab Radio. Thank you for listening. We have a great program for you today. We're going to be talking about some proposals that President Trump is proposing in regard to IVF. Also, later on in the program, we're going to talk about with some of the activists who are putting together a program for youth in the community during Ramadan, the month of fast. As you may have heard, President Trump promised on the campaign trail that he would expand IVF treatment and make it possible for anyone who is trying to have a child via in vitro fertilization. He recently signed an executive order asking his people for a list of recommendations on protecting IVF access, aggressively reducing out-of-pocket cost and health plan cost for IVF treatment within 90 days. Hopefully that they come up with something. And with us this morning is Dr. Nicholas Shamma. He's a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Center, and he's also a pioneer in reproductive medicine and infertility. He has performed more than 8,000 IVF cases worldwide and has more than 150 publications in the field. Dr. Shamma, good morning, and thank you for being with us.
And good morning to you and to your family. And Ramadan Kareem to all our listeners who are listening to us this beautiful morning.
Absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate it. Before we talk about President Trump and what he promised, let's give our listeners a little bit, what is IVF? How does it work very quickly? And what's new with IVF and what's new with your firm?
Okay, well, let's start with what's new with our practice.
Okay.
IVF Michigan and IVF Ohio fertility centers have been in existence for the past 35 years or so. And we're the largest practice in both of those states, in Michigan and Ohio. And we've recently, actually, as of today, this morning, we became part of a bigger network of fertility services, and the group is called Pinnacle Fertility, which is nationwide, and will be the 11th center in part of that group. And we, in a sense, will be great in allowing us to benefit from the bigger nationwide network as part of Pinnacle Fertility, because it allows us access to services and that are necessary sometimes with the new development of artificial intelligence and so on, that allows us to be at the forefront of the fertility field and services that are being provided for our patients.
So this really would benefit, your patients as well, this restructuring of the organization.
It's actually not restructuring. It will be part just of that bigger network.
Bigger network, yeah.
A major part of that bigger network on the national scale. And I will be involved with, in the bigger scale on the national level because of that association. That actually will be part of that bigger group. And it's a normal trend, because in our field, those mergers and acquisitions have been happening for at least the bigger groups many years. We've resisted doing this lately, but now we're at a stage in our careers where we're large enough, but if we want to take it to another level in terms of technology, in terms of services, in terms of patient experience, in terms of all of that, and incorporate those services in our domain, we have to be part of those bigger network.
Does that reduce cost?
It actually allows us to absolutely reduce cost of the services, because it allows us to benefit from better purchasing powers, better systems in place that govern how we do things. And those who, whether it is cost for us and therefore eventually cost for the patients, it's always helpful in being part of a bigger group, because you have bigger purchasing power, bigger manpower, bigger logistical power behind you, bigger and better access to genetic services that are part of that bigger network, as opposed to us being what we are, even though we're the largest in those two states. But there are still bigger entities like this one, like Pinnacle Fertility, which allows us to benefit from all of this.
How many centers does Pinnacle have?
It has around, we'll be the 11th of, there was one center in California that was closed and then merged with another center over there, but we'll be the 11th center. So there were 11, but then they downsized one, and now we're 11 bigger groups.
As far as technology, does that give you access to technology you don't have now?
We have access to all the technology, but if we're thinking of technologies available for the future, allows us to build on what we have now. Because our field, remember, Khalil, our field has only been there since 1980 in the United States. So this field is very nascent, very new, and it develops by leaps and bounds, especially in terms of genetics, especially in terms of artificial intelligence, especially in terms of robotics, especially in terms of microfluidic changes in the laboratory. All of this stuff has, to take it to that level, we need the services of bigger entities that can put their manpower together and women power together to allow that to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's like, your patients shouldn't really notice any difference.
No, for the patients, I'm the same doctor and we're the same group. All of my 170 employees are the same people. Just that we're part, who owns whom, it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah. It sounds like an exciting change in your...
In my career, and after being in this field for the past, in Michigan, at least since 1992, 33 years since I finished from Yale, it allows me it sort of is fulfillment to my dream of becoming a nationwide thing that hopefully allows me to deliver the same services with even better services to my patients, and it's a combination of a long journey, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and you've made a difference in the lives of thousands of people, which is the biggest gift of life. If when you give them they're able to get it, to have a child where they can.
The longing of parents, moms and dads, and having the ability to create a family and the longing for a family to start with is unimaginable. And the fact that I play a little role in all of this is immensely gratifying.
You play more than little. You make it happen.
Whatever. Yeah, thank God for everything, but we do, as humans, do our best in trying to help other people.
Absolutely. Last time we and I talked, and we talked a little about the history, how it was done years and years and years ago, how it is done now, and the chances of having a healthy child are incredible now, as you explained to me.
Yeah,
that's really a lot of help.
So true what you just said. And just to put this in perspective, there is more and more need for it. And this will tie us to maybe discussion with what President Trump amazingly did. 1 in 8 to 1 in 9 people can't have babies. And therefore, it's a lot of babies that could have been born if there is access to care like the one we provide. And half of our patients never have even the opportunity to participate in those services that we provide because of the costs associated with them, because of the availability, some geographic areas, to those services. So what President Trump did back in 2020, even before in his last years in office, he actually provided IVF coverage for military people and for people in the federal government. For him, it's a natural transition of what he recently did. And for us in particular, I was advocating for this on the air with you guys on the same day that President Trump later on in the afternoon said in Michigan that he's going to make IVF a covered benefit, and using insurances to pay for it. And what he recently did on February 18th was amazing, because he asked the the Domestic Policy Council come up with recommendations on February 18th on a Tuesday to make two things. Number one, to put recommendations within 90 days to make, number one, IVF accessible to people, and to do whatever it takes, Khalil, to make those services affordable. And affordable could be one of two ways, in my opinion. Either make mandated insurances to cover IVF, or decrease whatever out-of-pocket expenses through subsidies, through whatever it is, through tax rebates, whatever it is, so that it helps those patients be able to achieve what they are able to achieve with the help of our services. So I think we'll see what those recommendations are, but some of us who are involved, hopefully the recommendations will be actionable, meaning are able for people to use them, whether through pushing insurance companies to cover IVF or larger employers. Currently, only around a quarter of large employees cover in vitro fertilization services. And we need more babies born in the United States. You and me and on the air many times before, I've said, in the US, the fertility index, the amount of babies born to two people is only 1.6. It's not enough to maintain economic growth and we need, as President Trump said, we need babies. And we need babies. The only way to do babies is with the help of people like us that can make that happen sometimes. And clearly we need to encourage people that can have babies to have more babies. And we need to encourage people and help people that cannot have babies have access to services like ours. So to make a long story short, I think the role that this change in policy or this hopefully recommendations will put in place whatever necessary to make those things accessible and be affordable for most people. And again, to put this in perspective, think about it this way. In the US, out of 3.6 million kids that are born, only 2% of them are born from in vitro fertilization. You go to certain countries like Denmark, 7, 8, 10% of the babies born are born from IVF, and their fertility index is even higher than the United States. It's around 1.7 something. In Denmark, it's 1.6 in the US. That's not enough without immigration to sustain economic growth. And without economic growth, we fail as a nation.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Sure.
Behind the scenes, Michigan's public health team is working to make Michiganders across the state healthier, bringing healthcare closer to home with mobile clinics, increasing access to healthy food through farmers markets and WIC, doing hearing and vision screenings in schools, helping families navigate healthcare challenges. Learn more about how public health workers protect us all at michigan.gov/public health. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
With more than 30,000 successful in vitro fertilizations, IVF Michigan is now ranked as one of America's best fertility clinics according to Newsweek magazine. IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders in high-quality fertility care. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 9 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. A founding member, American board-certified Dr. Nicholas Shamma, is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. He has performed over 20,000 successful IVF cases, and it's helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. When it's time to get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shamma at one of America's best fertility clinics, call IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio toll-free at 855-952-9600. 855-952-9600.
A car accident can change your life in an instant. As a result of a car accident, you may become unemployed. As a result of a car accident, you may need a lot of medical treatment. People think that insurance companies are on their side. Why? Because they're giving them 1 or 2 benefits. Are they giving them all the benefits they deserve? How would one know unless you consult with an attorney? Call the law offices of Jumana Kiruz at 248-557-3645. 248-557-3645. 844-888-4445.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. We're talking to Dr. Shamma about what President Trump has proposed in regard to IVF. So currently, few insurance companies cover it, and then few employers do. And if President Trump gets his way, this may get, we get a lot more help as far as cost. Is that correct?
Yeah, it actually levels the field to a significant degree so that, why do employers cover in vitro? Because they want to entice younger people that are healthy, that are willing to work. And a lot of those people, young men, women, will go and be hired by those companies because those companies offer those ancillary services that are available
as an attractive
attraction to those young men and women to join those companies. So I think the companies that don't offer it are at a disservice, clearly. And so it levels the field, and it sort of nudges, I'm not going to say forces, but hopefully nudges those other companies to offer those services to those employees.
Yeah. Will you be involved as a practitioner in the recommendations?
It's a very interesting question because we have to wait and see what the Domestic Policy Council, reaching out to some people in my field and people that are leaders in our field in terms of how much input we have or don't have will depend on the deputy director of the Policy Council, in what they determine how much input they need from people like us. But it is interesting because I think, Khalil, at the end of the day, these are going to be one or two things, either recommendations or mandates. To make it happen, because if they just remain as recommendations, nothing happens.
Exactly. It has to be action,
In 2020, President Trump at that time took it to the next level, basically made through TRICARE, for the federal government in terms of the military. For TRICARE and the military and the VA, it's now covered. A portion of in vitro fertilization is covered. That's not available for most people working in the United States.
This sounds so what's next if they make recommendations? Does Congress have to be involved, or the president can do it by himself?
No, they can do it, but the president can. These are executive orders eventually, and the executive orders can be things that he puts in place, I think, to get policy changed, or he can enact a policy. And sometimes the policy, you'll find some person, some judge somewhere trying to prevent it sometimes. But if nobody prevents it, then it becomes enacted.
If nobody challenges it in court, it becomes active.
The one that they're offering for the military currently, nobody challenged it, and it just became.
I don't see any reason why would people challenge it, but this is America.
You never know.
You never know.
So at this point in time, what I think is it's an amazing first step, and I commend President Trump in what he did, because he said he's going to do it during the campaign. And one thing about this man that is leading our country now, whatever he says, he does.
That's good. Yeah, I hope that it goes. He follows through, and it goes through to give the dream of parenthood to some people who really need it.
Think about it this way: if you take between 20 and 23, this is, during actually since 2014 till around 2020, the fertility rate each year diminished by 2%.
Yeah.
And between 20 and 23, it decreased by 3%. Now remember, COVID was in between and stuff like that.
Sure.
More acute. Can you imagine if every year is 2% less than the year before? Where each two people used to have around 2 point some kid. Now it's 1.6.
Yeah.
Not enough. And thank God we have immigration, hopefully, organized immigration.
Sure.
Because all of us are immigrants. And that's how that country grows, is because on immigrants. Otherwise, it didn't exist.
We have to, produce enough to support the older population. If we don't, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. And maybe, fortunately, all of us, hopefully, I should say, are living longer.
Yes, we are. We are, yeah.
And we can work longer.
Yeah.
We need young people to be able to support us, you and me, Khalil.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts on this issue?
I think it is an amazing executive order, and I think it will be transformative if enacted. And the devil always is in the details.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. But I think it is an amazing first step that would be appreciated for years and years and years to come. And as far as us, in terms of IVF and Michigan and Ohio Fertility Centers being part of Pinnacle Fertility, it's an amazing transformative change for us that would benefit us, would benefit absolutely our patients, God willing, again, for years and years to come. And it's, for me, it's my dream finally coming to fruition at the end.
Sounds good. Hopefully also the dream of a lot of people who want to have babies as well.
God willing.
And Dr. Shamma, I want to thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and good luck and much success to you.
Thank you to you too. And nice to be with you tonight. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.